The contract said, confidential, but so was his wife. My name is Anya, and I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to sit across that mahogany table, inside the 52nd floor glass fortress of Ravenhold Capital. I wasn't supposed to make it past security, let alone into his world. But I did, and that was the beginning of everything. I had a degree, I had grit, what I didn't have was a future. After my startup crumbled, I'd been freelancing, branding, copy, ghostwriting for CEOs who couldn't spell their own legacy. Then came the email, confidential creative role, high pay, elite access, NDA required, respond if you're unafraid of secrets. It wasn't signed, just a black dot, curiosity kills cats, but I'm no kiddin', I replied, and 2 days later, I was on the 52nd floor, no resume, no portfolio, just my voice, my brain, and a hunger no salary could satisfy. That's when I met him. Rian Verma, CEO, billionaire, 41, brilliant, ruthless, married, and completely untouchable. Your voice, he said, as he leaned back in his chair, you write like someone who's been hurt before. I blinked. Don't we all? He smiled. Not everyone turns their wounds into weapons. He hired me on the spot. My contract was unlike any other. No personal phones, no paper trails, NDAs stacked like burial cloths. But I was hooked. Every morning began with black coffee and encrypted files. Every night ended with rewrites and revisions so personal, they felt like diary entries of a stranger's soul. And Rian, he grew closer. He never touched me, but his eyes did. He called me to his office after midnight once. You're the only person who's ever told me the truth, he said. Because you pay me to, I replied. But the room stayed quiet, thick with something unsaid. He poured me wine, red, dry, dangerous. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed, not in his bed, but in his head, and that was more dangerous. Her name was Isla, a former supermodel, elegant like silk covering a knife. She visited once, unannounced. I was in his office, alone, writing. She stepped in, silent, smiling. Oh, she said, you're her. I froze. Her, the new one. He always chooses broken girls with perfect grammar. She walked to the window, gazing down at the blinking skyline. I loved him first, she whispered. But he only loves control. Then she left, and I finally understood. I wasn't his secret. I was his pattern. He began giving me more than projects. Passwords. Passwords to systems no one else accessed. Audio logs of board meetings. Private surveillance from his home. Recordings of his wife, talking to someone I couldn't see. One night, I found a video. Rian, in a hotel, with a girl. Not Isla, not me. Someone, younger. And in the corner, the same black dot from my first email. I almost threw up, but then the file auto-deleted. Secrets, he told me the next day, are currency. The more you know, the more you owe. I was already drowning. Everyone at Ravenhold thought we were sleeping together. We weren't, not then, but the tension was a razor pulled across skin. Until that night in Delhi, a rooftop dinner during a brand merger. Candlelight, whiskey, and finally, his hand on mine. I think about you more than I should, he whispered. And then, he kissed me. Everything after that blurred into heat and ash. Meetings in his penthouse, silences that screamed, a craving that crawled under my skin. And then one day, I saw myself on the CCTV feed. In his home office, being watched. By her. What followed was a storm I can barely narrate. Blackmail, emails leaked, whispers of fraud. Suddenly I was being investigated. For forging client pitches, but it wasn't me, it was Isla, using my access. Rian told me, don't worry, I'll fix this. He didn't. Instead, he disappeared. One night, I got a text. He's mine. He always was. You were just the shadow. Then, a photo of me, sleeping, in my apartment. I ran. I left Delhi. I burned the contract. But Rian wasn't done. He showed up 8 months later. Bruised, scarred, empty. She tried to kill me, he whispered. Isla. He begged me to help him escape. To disappear, to build a new empire together. And like a fool, I almost said yes, until I remembered. That first email, that black dot, that same symbol, on a memory card hidden in his desk. I still have it. It contains every lie, every surveillance clip, every message between him and Isla. Planning this, together. I was the story, the alibi, the distraction. They killed a board member. And I was the bait. I never saw either of them again. But sometimes I receive roses. Dead black roses, with no note, just a dot. This story isn't about love. It's about power. The power of narrative, the power of secrets, and the power of walking away, before someone writes you out entirely. If this story crawled under your skin, subscribe to Black Tape Stories. Because here, secrets don't stay buried. They get louder.